This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Good Saturday morning, everyone, and welcome to Saturday Morning Mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Grace.
I'm Alexis.
And we are back for our second episode of The Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan. It's been already a journey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure
Week one was intense.
Yes, more intensity, shenanigans, surprises, children to come. Who knows?
Lots of children.
Yes. And this week, Alexis will be telling us about this crime-solving family. Mm-hmm. So I have nothing else to add, but I will pass it to you because because
the show's just wild. Going to be a journey. It's wild. I have so many things. I love it so much, but it is also like classic 70s, like lawless animation. In the sense, like they were playing it fast and loose with a lot of stuff, like continuity errors and shit. But it makes it that much more enjoyable.
Agreed.
Yeah. So this week's episode, we're going to join the Chan family, the entire clan of 11 humans and a dog cat mop pet as they enjoy a Hawaiian vacation.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, fun. Perhaps on the Big Island. So weekend with dad in Hawaii. Random trip for like feeding 11 and lodging 11 humans.
Also fun though.
Hawaii.
Because that's where the original actual human being came from.
Yes, true.
It's actually from there. That inspired Charlie Chan.
This is episode 3 of the season 2. Cool. So it was like early on. So they're like doing that early callback or that early on nod to let you know, pretty quickly in the show, who this guy is based off of. And he's full on detective in this episode. This classic detective mystery. So let's get into it. We've got the whole Chan family. They're enjoying this lavish, luxurious resort on, we'll just say, the Big Island. And pretty much all of the kids and Choo Choo, except for Henry and Stanley, so the two oldest, everyone but them, they're all out on the beach. They're playing, they're surfing, they're swimming, enjoying all of these, amenities right outside of their resort grounds. But meanwhile, inside of the resort or the hotel, Stanley and Henry, they're leaving their room when they see their father, or think that they see their father, the one and only Mr. Charlie Chan, world's greatest detective, so we will speculate about him. They see him getting onto an elevator. And as they're leaving their hotel room, they're like calling out for him, like, "Hey, Dad, wait up." But their dad doesn't stop. He kind of looks at them and then like runs onto the elevator. And it closes and he goes away. But meanwhile, as the boys, Stanley and Henry, are like questioning, he must not have heard us. Wonder what that was all about. We see a hotel maid run out of a nearby room claiming that Mr. Chan has just stolen very valuable black pearls from the hotel room of some Ms. Kingsley, the room that the maid was just cleaning. So she's yelling like, "Stop him, stop that man, he's a thief." And she immediately alerts the authorities and takes them right to Mr. Chan.
Okay.
And Henry and Stanley see all of this going down. So the authorities and this maid and the hotel manager, they make their way to the beach and they find Mr. Chan there sitting, he's lounging in a chair. He's got a fedora on. He's not. I thought it would be hilarious. Okay. No, he's got like trunks on and a robe, like a white robe and like a fedora still, though, I'm pretty sure. Okay. And he's just like sitting out on this nice beach chair, just watching his brood swim and surf. I'm going to keep calling them. It's 10 so kids, funny. Man. It's so accurate. Yeah. And they're out having fun. And he's just longing, remembering the days back when the family was whole, when Miss Chan would also be on vacation with them before the divorce. Yeah, when I wrote this, I was speculating that she died maybe, but I like your divorce option better and that these are just weekends with dad. And then all of this, these deep thoughts that he's having while enjoying this vacation, they're interrupted when a police officer and the manager and the maid ask him, like, dude, what do you know about these black pearls that just got stolen? She says she saw you steal them. So Mr. Chan, he's like, what? Go ahead.
Benefit of having 10 kids, you always have at least 10 witnesses for your alibi.
Boom. Yeah. So Mr. Chan, he tells everyone he's been sitting right there on the beach all afternoon and that he knows nothing about the stolen pearls. And Flip, as you described last week, he's like always trying to get right in the middle of these investigations and like super eager to help his dad out. He's like the fourth youngest or something, I think. He's somewhere in that line on the younger side. Though. Yeah. Flip, he rushes to his dad's aid and tells the police officer, that his father would never do such a thing and that the maid must have gotten something confused. But the officer tells everyone that the maid has witnesses to support her claim. So I know that's what I was like, yeah, he does have 10 kids. 8 of them arguably maybe saw him on the beach. But the oldest two, the most reliable, Stanley and Henry, they say that they saw their father getting onto an elevator only minutes earlier.
Oh, damn.
And he was rushing away from the room that the maid said was burglarized. And they mentioned that he didn't respond when they called out his name.
Damn, they're throwing the dad under the bus immediately. No questions asked.
Flip gets pissed. Flip and like, I think Susie. No. The oldest girl, Alice. Susie, thank you.
Alice.
Is Alice even one?
I think it is Susie.
Do they even have it?
Alice is like the maid from the Brady Bunch.
Yeah. I don't know. One of these kids. I'm thinking of Anne. Sorry. So it is Susie, but I'm getting her mixed up with Anne. Whatever. Her and Flip. A few of the kids are pissed that Henry and Stanley are throwing Mr. Chan under the bus. Yeah. Because at the same time, Henley and Stanley know that their dad would never steal anything, let alone precious gems from some rich lady's hotel room. So it's very uncharacteristic of him. But they're also like, but we can't lie to the cops. Like, we saw you. We saw you. It's circumstantial evidence, but anyway.
Thanks.
Mr. Chan, he now sees that some sort of mystery is clearly afoot. He's like, ooh, thank God. I was just getting stressed out on this weekend. I needed some work to do.
I needed a work vacation.
So he agrees to go down to the police station with the local officer, plea his case, and perhaps even work with them to help them figure out who the real culprit is, who really stole these black pearls. But, of course, while Mr. Chan is away, aka locked up and under police interrogation, the kids, they don't care about any of that. They're not, whatever. They're like, no, how do we circumvent the law and undergo an investigation of our own?
Moments after they were like, we must respect the law and tell the truth. Yeah. Only when it's our law.
Exactly. They're like, all right, Dad's in jail now. Fuck the cops. Let's go. Let's find this guy. We're not going to wait on their investigation.
Yep.
So all these kids, they're innocent. They're certain that their father is innocent. So they're like, all right, let's all kind of break up, or let's keep on doing what we're doing, on our resort excursions. However, on the side, we're all going to look into different culprits here who may be at fault. So we're going to break this up, the rest of this episode, essentially into 4. That's the backdrop. That's how our mystery gets started. Okay. And we're going to split up each group's investigation, because otherwise it would be way too hard for me to
jumping around.
Exactly. There's a lot of jumping around, and it's easier to just tell them all as one linear investigation versus another and another and another. And I'll ask you at the end who you think gets it right in their investigation. So cool. The first group is Susie, Alan, Anne, and Tom. So kind of like the middle schoolers to low teenagers, the maybe 7th 15
through 9th grade.
Exactly. Yeah, the 15-year-old to the 11 or they're 12-year-old, maybe something like that range. So, and also Choo Choo, of course. Choo Choo joins them.
Great.
So this group, they have decided on their nice resort weekend with Dad in Hawaii to go for a nice boat ride and a scuba excursion. Cool. Hilariously, Tom, the youngest in that group, is the one driving the boat to It's
The resort was just like,
supervision.
Here you go.
Yeah, here you go. Here's your engine. Do you know how to work this thing? Cool. Yeah, you'll be all right.
You.
And
said yes.
they like
Great.
they have like all the scuba gear and stuff too. So like I guess they're certified, everything. Like no big deal.
Wow, resorts are truly all inclusive.
They are. Mr. Chan, he pays all the expenses. He doesn't care. I'm telling you, this guy, he's got a good gig. I think as a for hire investigator, he goes around the world working for the wealthiest, biggest governments.
For
anyway, so this first group, they're out on the water, riding their boat, talking about who may be impersonating their dad. But all the while, we also see two bigger, dark-haired men in scuba gear on the beach talking about stashing some bag of something underwater where no one will find it. Okay. And one of the men, he like puts his mask on and he starts walking into the beach to just swim out, I guess, and like scuba right from the beach down whatever to hide this bag of whatever he's got. And the kids see him, and it's not until after he puts on his mask, though, that they're like, oh, I wonder, is that Dad? It kind of looks like Dad. Okay. Yeah, they're like, interesting. But even if it's not Dad, because he did just get arrested, so actually he shouldn't be here, that looks like someone who could be impersonating our dad, because he's maybe the same size, but otherwise we can't see anything about his face or whatever, because he's in a full-on scuba
gear.
Yeah, but for some reason they think this guy could be impersonating their dad, or that it is their dad. Regardless, they decide to also throw on their gear and get on in the water and follow this guy. Because they'll either be like, hey, Dad, what's up? What you doing here? Or they'll catch a criminal. Either option.
Or
cool.
They'll
these,
see a fellow vacationer. Just scuba diving, minding their own
harassing him.
Yeah.
Exactly. Any of these could happen.
Yes.
So meanwhile, though, the scuba diver's accomplice, who is still on the beach, he sees the Chans kind of like steer their boat around to follow this guy and dive in after him. And he's like, oh, it's those Chan kids, which is hilarious. So, like they're famous either because their dad is famous or because they've been getting into so much trouble around this resort that like all the guests are like, oh my God, those fucking Chan kids. Oh, they're so annoying.
Ruin my dive.
Yeah. So anyway, this guy who's still on the beach, he recognizes them and he says he'll keep those kids off of his back, like off of his accomplice's back. Okay. The Chans, though, this group of kids, they're following this man underwater for quite a while. Like they're just swimming on after him. And they see him swim behind this like large rock structure. And as they swim closer to this rock structure, out pops this like monster of sorts, aka like just a man in a grass skirt with this massive tribal mask on, and he's got like webbed gloves on or something, just making this really off-putting gargling and like gurgling sound as he's chasing after them. Yeah, and like a classic 70s animated chase scene ensues. But underwater, Fun. And so the kids, they get back to shore. They swim right back to shore, leaving their boat just out in the middle of the ocean, I guess. Yeah. They go straight to the beach. They throw off their gear.
Cool.
Mr. Chan is going to have a wild bill. It's going to cost so much extra.
What room are you renting the boat from? Okay, for 13?
For whatever.
Good to
Perfect. Know. Good to know. Oh my God, because then he has to like pay for the other boat to go get that boat, and the person who like is being paid to then get out of the boat and drive it back.
Dumping it on the beach?
They just leave it on the beach. Yeah, they just like toss it off. They're sitting under a tree, just like, what the fuck was just chasing us? Man, what was that thing? Which obviously it was the scuba diver who you were just following. Like you literally followed him to that rock, and then he popped back out and scared you. So anyway, I think they kind of know that, but they're like more so like, why did he just do that? What the fuck is going on? So they're very suspicious of this mysterious scuba man and his accomplice, who, again, were saying that they had something to hide underwater in this nondescript bag.
Okay.
So that's essentially Group One's investigation in this episode, or harassment, whichever way you want to look at
Did
it.
not go very far. Got it.
No. But we've got the scuba divers as, suspects for some reason. So Group Two. Group Two is Henry and Stanley, of course, our two oldest, the two like full-on teenage boys who are always, driving around the Chan van and whatnot. So after low-key getting their father arrested for ratting on him.
Oh, right. I forgot already. Yep.
Yeah, don't forget about that. They're still kind of in the shitter for that. Exactly.
Henry and Stanley.
They do. Watch out. These two meet up in the resort lobby. And Stanley suggests to Henry that the bellhop, the resort's bellhop, may be a prime suspect. And Henry kind of like looks over at the bellhop and agrees, saying that, he and their father have a similar frame and height. Like, the bellhop's a little stockier and he's a little taller, kind of like Mr. Chan. And he says that pretty much just like throw on a fake mustache and like the hat and the suit and like, yeah, I could see that working. Okay. Sure. So Stanley tries to set up this whole trap to interrogate the bellhop. Because another one, like you mentioned it last week, that one of Stanley's things is like, he is the jokester. He's always pranking. But exactly. He is also like the resident master of disguise. Actually, I don't know if you can call it a master of disguise because it's like the worst costumes ever.
Disguise enthusiast.
Exactly. He likes to think that he's really good at disguising himself, but he truly is not. And it always just annoys the hell out of Henry because it like wastes time with him putting on these ridiculous costumes.
Very accurate. And like they also have a time pressure. They're the ones who got their dad in jail. They gotta work twice as hard as the other kids right now.
Right, exactly. No time to F around. So Stanley dresses up as an old man and is like, oh, I know, I'll fool the bellhop, but it literally immediately fails. Like as soon as he walks up to him, the bellhop's like, oh, good afternoon, Stanley. You doing any surfing this afternoon? And Stanley's just like, oh, good eyes. And they like run the fuck out of there, like book it out of there because they're like, oh shit, he might be on to us.
I really like that just because usually, like obviously in cartoons, like the costumes are so blatantly obvious that you're like, all right, come on, how do you not recognize that it's this? So I like that they were like, yeah, and of course you fucking see that as some of these kids.
Put a pin in that.
Oh no. I spoke too soon. I'm sorry.
Give me like 3 more lines and then we'll be laughing all over again.
Okay.
So, yes, Henry and Stanley, maybe a few more than 3, but yes, put a pin in that. Henry and Stanley, they're booking it out of this resort now because they think that the bellhop may be on to them because Stanley was just a complete idiot in that costume. But while they're running off the resort grounds, they're stopped by the same masked grass skirt wearing monster man that was chasing Group One, the first group of kids underwater. So this man also like breached or whatever and then just started chasing whatever Chan kids he could find on land. So, and also
the land chance,
the land chance. By land or by sea, the Chans are everywhere.
We'll be there.
So Henry and Stanley, they outrun this monster man going like all around the resort grounds. And they start to speculate that whoever is in that costume chasing them is some accomplice of the bellhops. Okay. So as a result of this romp around the resort grounds being chased all over the place, Stanley and Henry happen upon a luau. And they obviously weren't invited to this one. So they're like peeking into it from behind some like bushes, like wondering what's going on there. And they see the bellhop is there. He's among the party goers. Okay. He got there very quickly. Or maybe Stanley and Henry were just being chased around for like an hour. Actually, no one is helping them as they're being chased by this giant
They're just like these fucking Chan kids.
Oh my God, they're all over the place. Land and sea.
I didn't see
the man chance. Oh my God. So anyway, Henry wonders why the bellhop is there. And Stanley is like, don't you get it? Like a luau would be the perfect place to meet an accomplice after stealing some shit, which like, I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I can think of better places, but okay, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but cool. And Henry is like, good point, but we need to get in closer to investigate. So Stanley, again, is like, oh, they'll never recognize me in this costume.
Oh, no.
He dresses up, it's like a cross between like a flamenco dancer and like the Chiquita banana woman, like on their logo, where he has like that headpiece with all the fruit, but like the very wavy, like flowy, frilly red pants, but also like a bikini top
with crop
like,
top. I can,
with like the boob padding, and he like has like a little added like wig, like ponytail bun or whatever, and like heels on.
Oh my god!
And he's like talking like this.
Stanley was just a drag queen in the 70s and didn't have the name for it.
He's trailblazing, man. He's a trailblazer. So Henry strongly advises against Stanley going in like that.
Yeah, smart.
But Stanley ignores him and makes his way right on into the luau. And he's like shaking his hips while he's walking it. And let's take out that pin that we put in earlier
when I complimented the writers.
The bellhop looks up and sees Stanley walk in. And the bellhop, I didn't mention this before, but he's like dancing with a woman. Like they're slow dancing on the dance floor, enjoying this luau. The bellhop looks up and sees Stanley walk in, and he's like, wow, throws his fiance to the side. Yeah, by the way, we find out this is like their engagement party. Yeah. You just see like it's like the pink background and like stars in his eyes, just like slow motion.
Stanley's just shaking his hips.
So this guy, he's like, wow, throws his fiance to the side and runs up to Stanley like, aloha, cutie. How about you and me dancing? He's like shimmying as he says it. And Stanley obviously accepts, like, of course. So these two start dancing. They're like slow dancing, whatever, enjoying the luau, like this nice ukulele music. And the bellhop's fiance comes up to him and like turns him around and is like, well, this engagement's off. He like throws the ring off and like throws it at him.
Yeah.
And the bellhop's like, easy come, easy go. Like, I got my new piece. What do I care about you? But he turns around and Stanley is also run away. Oh, I guess Stanley's like, oh shit, I'm not cut out for this.
All right. Well, they uncovered one mystery of a scumbag. So
a scumbag, yeah. So the bellhop, whether he's guilty of impersonating Mr. Chan or not, we at least know that he is a scumbag. At least. And so on their way back to the car, Henry says, like, God, see, I knew that this would be a waste of time. This was just like his engagement party. He's not trying to meet with some accomplice. And Stanley hilariously is like, oh, I don't know. It wasn't a total loss. And he like holds his hand out. I'm engaged. He's like
took the ring. Wait, so also now Stanley's the thief. Like at the very least, the bellhop's going to want to return it for that money back.
For the money, like, he's not making a lot. Yeah, he's a bellhop. He's super exploited. Nope. Stanley's got it. He's got it, and he's very happy. He's like smiling. I mean, it's hilarious. You're gonna crack up when you watch it. This. The writing, it's amazing. Anyway, so meanwhile, while they've been literally ruining some man's engagement.
Literally ruined like that woman's life, her family's life. Like, yeah, the bellhop.
And do you know how, like, that's a destination wedding we're talking about? Her whole family had to fly all the way out to Hawaii. This was a big luau. Like, there were a lot of people there. They had a band playing. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so while the Chans were doing this, Mr. Chan has been released from jail.
Okay.
And he makes his way back to the resort. So he was able to talk through with the police officers or whatever, prove his innocence, at least enough to enjoy the rest of his weekend with his kids.
Okay.
And he immediately meets up with Henry and Stanley. And
Stanley's still in costume.
No. He's back in his normal clothes. His normal clothes.
Got it.
Honestly, though, Mr. Chan wouldn't question it.
Yeah, he wouldn't even blink.
I told you guys not to look into this investigation. He would already know what they're doing.
Yeah.
He's like, God damn it again. God. What did you find out? Anything of use?
Yeah, anything good?
Oh, you're engaged. Cool. We got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for throwing me in jail.
By the way, glad that this is what you've been doing. Literally, my only kids who are like of legal age and who could have come down to the station to do something about me being arrested are breaking up engagements and partying. Cool.
Yeah, great.
Cool.
We're never getting back to this
being revolutionaries in like the drag industry.
Community. Yeah. Or get blacklisted from Sandals Resorts from here on out. Thanks.
Thanks. So the three of them, they're making their way back up to the room, Mr. Chan and Stanley and Henry. And as they're getting off of the elevator, again, we see the same maid from before. She's frantically shouting in the hallway, like with a room door open behind her, saying that she's just seen Mr. Chan yet again in that hotel room, stealing more jewelry. Yeah.
From the same room?
Not the same room. Okay. The room that she was just cleaning, though. Like she opened up a door, and they actually do show it in the episode. Like she opens the door, and he's like in there, like rifling through shit, and then like jumps out the window.
Oh, okay.
And the police quickly arrive, and she tells them this.
Oh god!
But then it's like, dude, he just got off the elevator, and you're saying that this man, no offense, Mr. Chan, but you're saying that this guy jumped out a window and not
the original
more than 2 minutes later.
Honolulu detective did get thrown out a window and landed on his feet.
Land on his feet. They're on the third floor in this one.
Okay, well, he did the second, so nope.
But that extra floor, it wouldn't happen. Couldn't happen. Nope. Impossible. So Henry and Stanley, they take a look around the room, and they run over to the window to see if there are any clues there. But when they look out of the window, they see who they think is the culprit getting into a car and like speeding off.
Okay.
And so they decide to chase him. So they run out of there and get into the Chan van. Which also, by the way, like there is no real confirmation that this car is the culprit. It's just a car that happened to be kind of like speeding off when they looked out of the window.
Okay.
Circumstantial evidence at best, but okay, I guess chase him if you want. Okay. So the two boys, they get in the Chan van and they follow this car throughout the city. And they're like changing the van into transforming it into like various vehicles. Like I think a guided tour bus is what they settle on.
Okay, interesting.
And the culprit's car then drives towards a volcano. And obviously the boys follow because they can't shake the mystery. And so they're like driving up this very narrow, winding dirt road up to the top of a volcano. Safe. Again, changing the Chan van with their Chan. So somehow throughout this chase, though, they go from being on the top of a volcano to driving on the beach. So maybe this is the culprit, because why else would he be like trying to shake them and driving through all these random places? I don't know. But as they're driving on the beach in the Chan van, this massive like rogue wave comes in.
Oh shit!
Somehow right onto shore and crashes into Henry and Stanley.
Uh-oh.
But just in the nick of time, they execute Chan Plan number 2, which turns the Chan van into a submarine.
Nice.
Thus saving Stanley and Henry from an untimely death.
Yeah, for real. And that would have never been traced because they're in the ocean dead.
And they're done. No, all those tracks would have been washed away, gone. They didn't say where they were following this guy. They just said, let's follow him. So no one knows. No one would know. Thank God. Who was it? Alan made the Chan van. Thank God he allowed it to turn into a submarine. Tom, Alan. I don't know. Anyway, Stanley and Henry, after they like survive by the skin of their teeth, they take a moment. They're like, okay, let's not chase him for a second. Let's just like catch our breath and thank God that we're alive.
Yep.
And unfortunately, though, the culprit does get away. So the car keeps like driving off on the beach. So that ends Stanley and Henry's investigation.
Okay.
Group 3. And then there's only one group left after this, I promise. And it's Mr. Chan himself. So group 3, yes, the kids, the young ones. We've got Flip, Nancy, Mimi, and Scooter.
Okay.
So all of the like 10 and unders, essentially, or 11 and unders, whatever. They're hanging out, playing tennis at the resort's tennis courts. So like, also, I love how all of them are like doing different things on the resort grounds. Yeah. Like, oh, we're going to go scuba diving. I mean, we're going to like run around the grounds. Oh, we're going to go to the tennis courts. Yeah, dude. Lavish vacation. Mr. Chan spares no expense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if like we run into clues, I guess we'll look at them.
All right, while we're here. Yeah. So they're at the tennis courts. They're sitting on a bench discussing who may be impersonating their father. Mm-hmm. But as they get ready to leave and find the culprit, hilariously, Nancy, I think, has just like accidentally stepped through 2 tennis rackets.
What?
That's like all she does. I don't know.
The biggest mystery is to have.
Earlier we just see her, you know what, we're gonna give Nancy some justice here. Okay. She doesn't do anything, so we're just gonna describe as much as we can of Nancy, because I feel bad that they literally just wrote her as like she's always eating and breaking things. You know what, yes she is, but we're gonna say it with pride.
We're gonna give
earlier in this episode, she's like sitting on the beach just like eating a whole pineapple, like, and it's like chopping it up and just eating it until like a bird like steals it from her. And then now she just like, you just see her standing like each foot is through a tennis racket. The tennis rackets are like around her ankles. Like it doesn't show her break them. You just hear like a commotion and the camera pans to her and she just has tennis rackets around her ankles.
Oh, Nance.
Oh no, Nancy.
Oh, girl. Okay.
Can relate though. So anyway, the kids are getting ready to leave to find the culprit, but they look over and they see their father walking towards the tennis courts. But they're like, is that Dad or is that the impersonator? Because like he's supposed to be in jail right now. Like they don't realize that he's been released yet. So they think he's the impersonator, and again, Mr. Chan's bill is about to go up. Oh, no. They rip the net off of the tennis court.
They've already run the rackets.
True. 2 rackets and a net. What is it? Nah, at all. Pennies at this point for him. They run over. They tackle who they think is the impersonator of Mr. Chan, cover him with this tennis net to trap him. And they're like, okay, we got him. I think we got him. But then Mr. Chan just starts talking and they're like, oh shit, wait, that sounds like Dad. And Flip is like, but are we really sure it's Dad? And Mr. Chan's like, well, if you want reduced allowance, then I'm sure we can find out. And they're like, okay, yes, we done effed up. That is our Dad. Sorry, Dad. So they release him, and I guess maybe do like a general check-in. Like maybe he's like, you guys having fun? You guys good? Anything crazy happened while I was in jail? No.
Clearly you tried to just tackle someone, but you said you'd stay out of it, right? No?
Right.
What's happening?
You're good? All right. And I guess maybe the kids also check in with him, like, everything okay?
How's
jail?
Did you get
beat up in jail? How was jail? Nancy just broke 2 tennis rackets.
We were going to bring him to you in jail, but I guess you're here now. So
you're here now. So you'll just see him on your bill. Yeah. So after this, the kids, they head into town, I guess, to go for like an early evening stroll. And they come across a jewelry store that happens to be selling black pearls, much like the pearls that were stolen from the resort at the beginning of the episode. The ones that started all of this whole debacle. Okay. So Flip concludes that the jewelry store owner must be the man impersonating their father, and that he is likely, or at least he's in cahoots with him, and that he's likely hiding the rest of the black pearls in his safe in the back. So
who said that? Flip jumps to a lot of conclusions.
Flipping right into those conclusions. Flipping right in. So these kids, they devise a plan so genius, so cunning. I honestly, Grace, have to say, it's almost a travesty that this plan does not work.
Okay, let's hear
They
it.
hop on each other's shoulders and
Yes!
cover themselves in a long draping dress.
Yes. Oh, a dress.
And a dress, not a trench coat this time. It's like a nice, it's got like flowers and stuff on it. And it's like
Summery,
pink.
Hawaiian.
Exactly. I think Nancy's on top. Oh, here we go. This is her
They
time to
included
shine.
her? Oh God, okay.
They included her.
Nancy?
Don't fuck this up, Nancy.
Fuck it up, Nance.
Put a pin in that.
Oh God.
No, she's gonna fuck it up right
stab
now.
herself with the pin.
God damn it. And then she'll like try to use it to poke a pineapple or something to eat. So Nancy, they walk in, they're like kind of like hobbling in. And essentially her whole thing is she's pretending to be a 19-year-old because when the guy at the counter initially asks her, like, hey, how old are you? She's like 9, teen.
Nancy.
So she says she's 19 and that she's inquiring about some black pearls because her fiance would like to get her some.
Okay.
And the man at the counter, immediately off put by this and clearly not falling
As
for
he should
it.
be.
As he should be. Tells her that the only black pearls that he has are the ones in the window. So she thanks the man and says goodbye, and the kids like clumsily fumble their way out of there. And so this group, they get back together in their hotel suite and they attempt to devise another plot to uncover the jeweler's stolen goods, or what they think are stolen goods. A lot of
assumptions. This poor man.
He's like, I'm just trying to work, okay?
Like, I fucking hate tourists.
So much. Like, I don't even know. What do you mean? Do I have look, the black pearls are right there. What
else do you want?
What do you want me to say? So this time Flip decides to go into the jewelry store on his own, but using their cool watch devices that you mentioned in last week's episode. He like turns it on so Nancy can hear from outside of the jewelry store. Once he goes in, he says hi to the guy at the counter, and that signals for Nancy to tell Choo Choo, who is now hanging out with them, to make an alarm bell sound from outside of the store. So in addition to being like a quarter cat, a quarter dog, a quarter mop, and a quarter, I don't know what else. Choo Choo also is like, he is also an alarm. Like he makes this like siren sound, literally.
Oh, good boy.
And you can hear it from inside the jewelry store. And when he starts doing it, Flip tells the jeweler that must be someone trying to break into his safe in the back. And the jeweler, clearly Choo Choo is very convincing because the jeweler freaks out and is like, oh my God, you're right. So he runs to the back to check on the safe. And Flip follows him. But as the man is like rifling through all the belongings and the shit in the safe to see if everything is still there, Flip is like right up on him, like over his shoulder looking. And he's like, have you checked on the black pearls yet? Like breathing down this poor man's neck. And the man is like, I don't have any other black pearls. Why is everyone asking me about this?
Like, why are you back here, child?
I know this is like the private secure area. This man needs coworkers. He needs help.
Truly,
he needs help. Truly. This is clearly just like a mom and pop jeweler. He thought like, I'll sell upcharge jewelry, just like kind of cheap shit to all the tourists and everything.
Well,
these Chan kids are about to make him question his whole business.
Yeah, he's retiring after this.
Yeah. So after he tells Flip that he doesn't have any other black pearls, Flip's just like, okay, bye, and runs out of there, like grabs Choo Choo and Nancy, and they run back to the resort. So essentially they have no evidence on this guy or anything other than the fact that he's got these black pearls. They're still a little sus on him, thinking or maybe he's just telling mere lies. Like the storefront is just a front for this whole operation. So, last but not least, group 4, which isn't actually a group. Well, it kind of is. It's good old Mr. Chan himself, and I guess the local law enforcement and some of Mr. Chan's own reinforcements. So, after all of the events of this wild day, going in and out of jail, being accused of multiple thefts, being attacked by your children, being framed by your other children, etc. What a day it's been. God damn, I thought this was supposed to be a nice Hawaiian resort weekend.
Yep. Like, do not tell your mother about this.
Please do not. Oh my God. She'll never let me see you again. So after this wild day, Mr. Chan is enjoying a well-deserved rest. He's just calmly sitting in a nice lounge chair in the hotel lobby, quietly reading the daily paper, just enjoying his time. But of course, again, his peace is interrupted, this time when he is approached by the resort manager. And Mr. Chan, at first, when he sees him, he's nervous, like, oh, God, this dude's totally about to kick me and my kids out of here because we're
got the bill, the boat, the scuba gear, the tennis courts.
We fucked up your bellhop's luau and engagement. I'm sure he's not. This is wild. I'm so sorry. But the resort manager is like, no, Mr. Chan, you're fine. Like, I know you're innocent. You and your family are safe and can stay here as long as you want until your innocence is proven.
Oh, nice.
So the manager, he leaves Mr. Chan to continue reading his paper. Mr. Chan kind of gets an idea, though, and he decides to run to a nearby payphone. And he makes a call to someone. We don't see who this person is yet, but he appears to be asking this person for a favor, asking if they could get here right away, essentially, and saying, yes, that'd be fine, and I can't wait to see you.
Okay.
So let's move into our conclusion and the way that Mr. Chan will set the final trap and use these clues from his children, perhaps, to figure out who's to blame here.
Okay.
The next morning, we see a woman by the name of Miss Van Ingley, and she's like this middle-aged, brown-haired woman in Hawaii, mind you, wearing a fur shawl and like white gloves.
She's like, I am rich.
I am rich. And to add on to that, very large, attention-grabbing gold jewelry, like very big necklace and earrings.
I am rich.
Rich. I'm very rich, everyone. I'm Van Ingley, not just Ingley, Van Ingley. So she's checking into this resort for a stay. But before she makes her way to her suite, which the manager loudly announces is room 346, so everyone can hear, before she can make her way there, she shows pretty much everyone in the hotel lobby this suitcase full of precious jewels that she has brought with her on her travels. She opens it up on the desk in front of the manager. You just see like glistening, shining everything all in the manager's face. The manager literally, his jaw dropped. He's like,
damn, okay.
Looking at this shit. And it's actually really funny when you watch it. It's like a 10-second scene where it just like shows every single person's reaction to looking at
is rich.
Like you see the bellhop staring, you see the maid staring, you see the scuba divers walk in their scuba gear staring, the manager staring, random like shisty eyes from behind the manager's door staring. So it's like all these different suspects are just like noticing that this woman has this jewelry, this lavish, luxurious jewelry. And again, the manager has just announced to the world that she's in room 346. So the bellhop comes over to get her stuff, but the manager first asks her, like, would you prefer keeping your jewels in the hotel vault? Like, that looks pretty expensive.
Money.
Yeah. But Miss Van Ingley, she declined, saying, well, Mr. Chan's here, right? So as long as he's here, I don't think I should be worried about what happens to my stuff. He'll watch out for it.
Okay. Girl, he's
sounds
on
like
vacay.
She has not, first of all, but also sounds like she's new, okay? She didn't know what happened here yesterday.
Know what happened yesterday.
No, she did not read the news. But as one could suspect, based on the prior events, that night, we see Mr. Chan sneakily shuffling through the halls of this hotel and making his way to room 346. And he walks right on in and gets to grabbing the jewelry, of course. But when he looks out of the room's window, like he just looks up, a police officer is just standing there, like looking straight up at him on the third floor. I don't know.
Question. I was like, wait.
He's like on a ladder, just like leaning up against it, just staring at it.
Someone's holding it at the bottom.
Yeah. Like another police officer.
Yeah. The rookie.
So then Mr. Chan, or this man impersonating Mr. Chan, quickly turns around to make a break for it. But the door is blocked by the real Mr. Chan, his entire brood, and Miss Van Ingley. So like there's no getting out. There's like 12 people blocking you. You're not going to.
You might as well jump out the window. It's probably safer.
2 cops versus 11 Chans and Miss Van Ingley and Choo Choo. I think I know which one I want to take. So at this point, the gang, they're like shocked by the uncanny resemblance between this imposter and the real Mr. Chan. So, Grace, who do you think is under this mask?
So
all of those, the list of people essentially who I said were checking out her jewels in the lobby, is the list of suspects.
So I have two things. Who I would like it to be and who I think it is. I would like it to be the scuba people, simply because I think that chase would have been the most fun, because I love diving. And so as soon as you said it, I was like, I'm on team scuba dive as getaway. But I think it... Oh, shoot. No, I was going to say it was the maid, but no, because she ran out of the room as they saw the guy in the elevator. So I think it was the bellhop, and he was doing all these jewels because his now ex-fiance had high taste, and he as a bellhop could not afford this wedding that they were putting on. And thus, I think it was the bellhop, and he was trying to get that money so he could put on this big destination wedding for this diva. And now
it was a very nice ring that Stanley stole.
And single.
From the bellhop. All right. Well, I wish you were correct.
Damn it. Who is it?
It is none other than the resort manager.
Oh, I forgot about him.
It's okay, because who would have guessed? Because yes, the bellhop, similar size, similar frame. Yeah. So how do you explain this?
And the kids didn't investigate him.
I know. So they were all, again, distractions to make the manager think he was in the clear.
Smart.
So
those kids.
Mr. Chan, he literally presses just a button on this guy's suit, and like it deflates entirely.
It's a fat suit.
Yeah. And then the man like takes off the hat and the mask and reveals himself to be the thin, small, gray-haired, needle mustache white man that he is. Looks nothing like Mr. Chan. And so the manager's like, "Who tipped you off, Chan?" And Mr. Chan responds, "You did, sir," which he's still so polite, so kind to this criminal.
Always.
Yeah, sir. And this is an interesting bit. When I talked about how great the show is for even its continuity errors and stuff earlier, at this point, Henry chimes in and he's like, "Hey, yeah, that rubber tube that we found in the car," suggesting that this is the clue that tipped off the Chans, or tipped off Mr. Chan, because Mr. Chan is in like exactly like that's what tipped it off. But here's the thing.
Did we ever see that happen?
I watched this episode so many times and rewound so many times, specifically because of that one line there. I was like, wait, when did I miss a rubber tube? There was nothing about a rubber tube in this episode in the car ever. Like, I'm pretty sure that the writers had it in there at one point, but they had to like cut it out in post to meet like the broadcasting time limit.
They were like, no, we
forgot
need
about the later
Nancy eating the pineapple and the tennis rackets on her feet.
We need this chase. We need this chase with the tribal mask wearing guy to literally be 5 minutes long. We need the shot of Miss Van Ingley showing off her jewelry to literally be 15 whole seconds. 15 of silence.
Seconds of, wow, look, a rubber tube. How'd that get here? Anyways.
Like, you don't even have to explain what the tube does. Just like acknowledge the tube. There's nothing about a tube in the car in this entire episode. They must have forgot about the later reference and just went with it. 70s animation, Lawless. We're going with it. We're going with it. It's got to be on TV in 2 hours.
The Chan kids, Flawless.
Yes. Yes. There are no rules. Just keep it going. We'll edit it in post. Oh shit, our editing made it worse. Oh no, keep it going.
Why there's only one season.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
So
Cool.
As viewers, the only clues we have, and not as writers on the inside, the only clues we have are that the culprit obviously had access to all of these hotel rooms.
Okay.
And that the manager didn't want the Chans to leave the resort, knowing one that Mr. Chan was a possible threat to other guests. Like, that's a huge red flag and for liability, like as a resort manager, like for the hotel and for you personally. Like, this man has been committing crimes here and you're still going to like let him frolic among your guests.
Yeah.
Like, no, if any of your guests get robbed, now that's on you. Yeah. One. And two, this pretty much like suggests that the manager was certain that Mr. Chan himself was not doing the robbing, because he was like, yeah, you can stay, because he knew like Mr. Chan is not the threat, I am, so so and two sides of one coin essentially.
And I guess that he was even like, oh shoot, okay, Chan's kind of on my tail, just keep it in the vault or something, or then where it would be easier for him to steal, and or to be like, get him off my case, look, I'll offer to keep them safer.
Exactly. I think at that point he knew. He's like, this seems a little too good to be true. I don't know if I want to break into this woman's room to get these ones. It would be way better if I could just snatch them from the vault.
Wow.
And also because, as we find out too, so Alice, she jumps in and says it's like super lucky that Miss Van Ingley was there with her jewels so that they could catch the criminal. But Miss Van Ingley actually informs the kid that Mr. Chan called her last night before to help him stage. So that phone call he made was to Miss Van Ingley. They're former associates of some sort, and they used her jewelry as
been a client of hers for mystery solving.
So I was going to say, I think that the manager knew maybe that Miss Van Ingley knew Mr. Chan. So he was really thinking like, oh shit, they're closing in on me.
Yep.
I don't know. Anyway, so the resort manager, he gets arrested, and the Chans continue their luxurious Hawaiian resort vacation. The end.
Wow. Wow. That was a journey.
A journey to Hawaii.
And
beyond.
Also of like weekends with dads, like when they go on vacations with like moms, like with their mom, they just like truly are like harassing all of the other like resort guests, being like, tell me what you know. This is how we vacation, right, Mom?
Yeah, right. This is what we do. The mom's like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening.
And then also, I haven't seen that really popular show White Lotus, but I'm just going to assume this is what it is now.
See, so I didn't know. For some reason, I didn't think you had seen it yet.
Yeah,
I fucking love that show. It's so good, and it's all I could think about. That and the whisper scatting. Another show with great intro music, by the way. The White Lotus in a totally different way.
In the show, but I assumed that this was the plot of White Lotus, and White Lotus just ripped off of this
season one in Hawaii. The whole time there, I wanted to make so many White Lotus references, but I was like, this episode's going to be like 2 hours long if I do that, because every other line I can make. Exactly. I was like, I got to check with her to see first if she even watched it. I didn't, but thank you for acknowledging that. Yes, of course, so many things. I was like, oh damn it, no, I won't say anything since you haven't watched it,
because I won't get it,
spoil anything. Exactly.
Listeners will know, probably
they'll know, and also highly recommend watching it if you have not. Those seasons are fantastic. Great.
Wow, so. Great job. What a wild ride. What a wild setup.
Yeah, it's these globe-trotting Chan kids. Just wow. Well, anyway, it'll continue next week. We've got another fun investigation, much more to come with this amazing family. But until then, Grace, who should the listeners and viewers tell about this podcast?
I think if you're, a lot of places it's really cold. We're all craving some sunshine and warmth, wishing we could go on vacay. So if you're on vacation, tell your tell the staff wherever you're staying, if you're staying at a hotel or something, let the bellhop know. Be like, look, I'm not like the other tourists who are making you pick up their heavy bags of gems.
Yes.
I'm like carrying my own bag. When you listen to this podcast while you're carting rich people's stuff up and downstairs. That's my tip for you. I don't have cash to give you, but here's the podcast show.
Podcast, enjoy it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Nice. And so after you tell the bellhop, then go and tell the resort manager too. Nice. And be like, I really hope you're not like this resort manager or like any of the resort managers in the White Lotus.
It's really giving resort managers a bad name, the media these days.
Yes. It's gotta be tough for them out there now. So tell them too. Yeah.
Amazing. Great job.
And until then, till next week.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.